Did you?
Hello, everybody. This is Your Voice with Senator Greg Ball.
Yay! You got it.
I'm Jim Coleman, Senator Ball's Chief of Staff and Chief Sidekick. And Senator Ball, looks like we've had a big day because we've got a special guest here right here today.
Yep. And Terrence just told me he ran 7 miles yesterday.
Yeah, sure.
He runs like you. Both of you look pretty fit.
I'm always running away from it.
Yeah.
I run to it.
Goodness gracious.
Like I ran to Albany today.
That's right.
It's a great
Terrence,
day today up here, and thanks for all your support, Westchester County and the Citizens Advisory Committee for the busing issue that is coming up with that's approaching the state Senate to try and pass. We came up here, Father Valancourt of the president or the principal of JFK High School, and representing Yorktown Heights and St. Patrick's School. We came up here today to try and make sure that this bill that's up in front of you guys does not see the light of day.
And specifically, that's to, you want to say specifically what the bill's for?
Yeah, well, it was a bill that was crafted by the superintendent of schools to try and take that 15-mile radius for non-public school kids and take it down to a 5-mile radius, which has the potential of actually shutting St. Patrick's School, JFK, and other Catholic schools.
And you know, for parents that are home now, that are saying, well, heck, my kids go to public school, so that doesn't affect me.
Right, exactly.
They have to understand that this is actually another huge pending tax increase, because if these schools shut down, it's going to shove a lot of children back into the public schools at $20,000. Exactly. So.
Absolutely.
But we got mandate relief they're putting it under, and I appreciate you setting up the other meetings with us with Senator Skelos and Senator Flanagan. We couldn't have asked for a better thing. Thank you so much.
It was awesome.
Councilman Murphy, that's what that's what the process is all about. Senator Ball's on it.
It was a great day today. Father Valancourt, these guys were on our way home, and thank you for having me on the show today. But this was a huge day for the parochial schools and the busing, and a major step in the right direction. Mandate relief, I do not think it's anything near mandate relief.
Really,
if anything,
it's more mandates.
Said, it's going to actually increase our taxes.
Absolutely, yep, absolutely. Well, thank you for being here, Councilman Murphy. We've got a full day here scheduled with Senator Ball, and we're going to kick it off with Senator Ball. We just had you over at the VFW over in Mahopac with some Boy Scouts. Mahopac. And you were there to talk about the advancement of Boy Scouts. Tell us what that program is all about. We can roll the tape and see there.
These kids are great, and I got to tell you, you talk about an amazing program, literally, that transforms lives, and you meet each and every one of these kids, and they're doing great things for the community at no cost to the taxpayers, which is a beautiful thing. All hopefully moving towards being Eagle Scouts. There's Kenny Schmidt, all dressed up in his suit, looking sharp. I love Kenny Schmidt. He's a good man and a good leader, and really very down with the people, constantly rolling up his sleeves, whatever needs to get done, getting it done.
Senator Ball, I know you're very committed to the Boy Scouts. There have been over 2 million Eagle Scouts since the founding of the Boy Scouts, and you've always said that America is a great country not because of its government, but because of its Eagle Scouts.
It's people.
And people.
That's right.
So, Eagle Scouts are people.
That's right.
Well,
great people.
Dynamic work there. And
a lot of Eagle Scouts at West Point and the Air Force Academy, Naval Academy. It's an amazing tribute for a young man to accomplish that in his life, and it also puts a huge responsibility on his shoulders to continue to do good things. And in a world where there seemed to be, a sense that we should worship false idols like Britney Spears and all those, type of people, it's nice to have peer leaders in the community who are proven to be great examples.
A lot of dedication.
It is.
Britney Spears is that's probably my time frame. It's probably Snooki now, right?
Well,
I don't watch TV.
What a mess she is.
I'm busy.
Well, on top of that, you invited a good friend of yours and your legislative director, Krista Gobbins. Senator Flanagan came over to visit you for an education summit.
Yes, and Krista
Tell us about what went on. Was she pretty excited? Why was she excited?
Well, she cares a lot about the funding issue.
That's what it really is.
Right. Yeah. And do we have the footage of that?
Let's see if we can roll the tape.
Right.
Look at all that.
It's a beautiful event. It would be nice if Joe would actually upload this and get this on public access.
I know. Well, I'm working on it.
What this was about was during the budget process to make sure that we had the proper funding to our schools and our districts. We all know that the property tax cap is a great deal. It is forcing a very serious conversation about tax relief. People are being taxed out of their homes over the great expanse of time. You know, over the next 10 years, you're going to see this property tax cap begin to get things reach an equilibrium in a way that's important to keep seniors and working families and young professionals in this area, so they can actually afford not only the mortgage, forget the mortgage, but the tax bill is becoming an inhibitor in
I don't know
our
how
area.
anybody retires.
So it was a conversation about that, but then also how do we get the right funding for our schools? There's a restoration that went on in the Senate majority, of which I'm a member. We fought for a restoration and increased funding to our schools, which was vital. And Senator Flanagan has been here for a good number of years and really listened to the need for unfunded mandate relief and a host of other issues.
Well, I'll tell you, you have been busy working with your colleagues up here in Albany, because you did the same thing with inviting Senator Zeldin over to talk about the MTA tax.
Do we
You were
have that
successful
footage,
in
Tim?
getting that repealed. Why don't we roll the tape on that?
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Look at that.
Biggest, look at that. Most horrific unfunded mandate is the remaining MTA payroll tax, which is killing municipalities and hitting them over the head and requiring taxpayers to pay this on a multiple times. So we stand here today to continue our fight, which has been a tough fight, but we've gotten it done. And I believe that we're going to get it done again to fully repeal the MTA payroll tax for municipalities and hopefully including not-for-profits.
So while we are very proud of our efforts together in being able to repeal the tax for 80% of the people that were paying it, we're not done. And we made a commitment that we were going to fight until there was a complete repeal. And our effort right now, every day that we're up in Albany, is finding a way to get the payroll tax repealed for all counties, towns, villages, and libraries, and anyone else who's left paying it.
So we actually got that done for the libraries. All libraries have been taken out. That clip, I think, was
fantastic.
off of CNN, wasn't it? CNN.
That
and
was
Fox News?
CNN and Fox. They were both there that day. The helicopters were in the sky with that
Really watching
announcement.
that press event was
It was
something else.
amazing.
You mind if I interrupt here?
Absolutely.
This MTA tax, I've been fighting with you since you were
I know, right?
since you were
We're
the
standing
freshman
shoulder
assembly.
He
to
was in
shoulder
the
with
assembly, he was
anyone.
talking about it, wasn't he,
Absolutely.
Councilman?
We were in front of my place. Not only this affected my restaurant business,
Right.
my professional business, my school tax, my
Chiropractor.
town tax. It was like the final straw when we're trying to get economic development going.
right.
It's just another needle that they were giving business owners.
Thousands of dollars.
And this is so great to see that we've
Got it done.
actually got it done. And
big deal.
We need that.
6 years this has been going on. You've
been
been
a hell of
fighting
a
for
fight.
6
It's
years.
amazing.
Great job.
He put it on it at a time when, we had a $10 billion deficit, and Senator Ball and his colleagues still closed that budget deficit and still delivered on repealing that MTA tax on 80% of the businesses out there. That's been
Yeah, it's
fantastic.
big for me. Thank you.
Big
And a
time.
lot of businesses. I know I've talked to Joe Visconti, the Chamber of Commerce in Yorktown, and when it first came out, a lot of people didn't know about it, and they were just, "What's this new tax?" And it was just, it was only $15 here, $30 here, $100 here. So they never looked at it until you brought it to attention. And it's MTA, control your own budget.
Terrence, for our viewers out there, what would a small business do when they get a relief from such a tax? What can they do with that money?
Well, it depends on obviously what level it is. It's the reality is right now it's tough enough just to continue to keep the doors open.
Absolutely.
Everybody's struggling, like the senator said, between your paying your mortgage and paying your taxes, and then to have an additional tax that's put on you when it was on the 12 counties north and east of New York City, and the reality was it was basically the MTA can't control their own tax, so they took it out and they put it onto all the businesses, anybody who had payroll, and if I don't mind paying for something that I use or my family uses, I'll pay the extra. But when people can't control, remember when the Jets were trying to take over the in Manhattan, they were thinking about building their stadium there, and they came up with 2 sets of books. The MTA came actually with 2 sets of books, and the reality is that it's just not fair for the business owners. But any little pennies that we can get, any little dollars that we can get, or hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars, is much appreciated.
All counts.
The support that we can get from the people just to keep the doors open is
We're
nowadays.
talking about the Jets. We're doing a great barbecue this summer where Murphy's is going to be donating a lot of ribs and food. Yeah.
Well, we're Giant fans at Murphy's.
And it's for cops and firemen and for veterans. It's free for their
July
families. July 7th at Camp Kiwi.
Great.
Murphy's going to be a big sponsor. And we're actually trying to get the Jets cheerleaders there. So any help that you can do
goodness.
to come.
Well, I don't know too many Jets We like the Giants.
Yeah?
Giants.
But they don't
We're
have-
Giants
they don't
fans.
have
We're
to
Giants
play.
fans.
Bring the Giants too.
If you get the
They're
players,
Super
get the
Bowl
players to
champs.
come.
Come on.
I know, but I come from a big Giants family as well. So.
No, we don't. We like the
But they
Giants
don't,
down.
you know, they don't have a team so, on that side.
Well, on top of that, Senator Ball, you've had the Veterans Hall of Fame, and then on that you had the traveling wall to go to a lot of different high schools.
We're going to show that bean
We're going to
footage.
show it over at Henry Hudson.
Beautiful.
If you look at the bios on this wall, whether it be World War II, or Korea, or Vietnam, the Persian Gulf Wars, Iraq, Afghanistan, or any of the military operations other than war that we've seen, or any of the other conflicts, it is amazing to think what these men and women did for this great country. And I want to thank you for actually having this here, so our children, the students, can see firsthand the heroes that live in our community. Thank you.
He was a Yorktown.
That's
Senator
Mr.
Ball,
Campanera. I think you know. Just I got to tell you. I mean, when you see these men and what they have been through for this country, and it continues to this day. You know, I just got met with a good friend of mine, West Point grad from 2 years ago. He served in Iraq, and they're supposed to give him a certain amount of time to kind of recoup. In fact, his fiance was going to head down to Fort Hood, down in Texas, to be with him, and he just got word that in 3 weeks he may be shipping off to Afghanistan. This is ridiculous. I mean, the amount of strain that these troops now have, it's ridiculous, and it's not for a short period of time either. And this is a guy who, he was in a Humvee, and it was hit. I mean, he was trapped in a Humvee for 14 hours. So, in the stories, when you talk to the guys from, look, you're not supposed to, did you see how the
Senator
wires
Ball, wait a
over me
minute,
like that?
You didn't have your nice tie on today. No, calm down.
Don't give me a hard time about the tie. But the point is on this, when you talk from the World War II troops, but you really shouldn't let that happen. Korean War,
Krista.
Vietnam, the men and women who served and what they have been through, those are the heroes. And you don't have to watch TV, you don't have to watch a movie, you don't have to read, I'm not going to tell you not to read a book. But these, and it's all men that are on that wall, on that traveling wall. It's so important to get it into the schools so the children stay. And that freedom is not
The
free.
Yorktown. We had a nice turnout.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was really, really good.
You follow right back up with the disabled.
Dr. Napolitano, is that
Yes.
his name? Does a great job.
Yeah.
He's an amazing professional.
And speaking about our veterans who were wounded and affected by the war, you just recently also had a hearing about jobs for disabled veterans.
Do we
We'll
have the
take a look at
footage?
that. We have a clip there.
In October of 2005, my vehicle was struck by an improvised explosive device. Still on a fire, I managed to get out of the vehicle. And in the next 52 minutes during the evacuation process, there was a firefight. In the firefight, I was shot 3 times. Spent the next 22 months in the hospital, Brooke Army Medical Center in San Antonio, Texas. And to date, I've undergone 62 surgeries.
You can guarantee that there's going to come a point in time in your career where somebody hands you something that you never saw before and says, make it work. And you find more often than not that military members not only make it work, they make it work better. They make it do something that it never did before. And then it becomes the standard.
Service-disabled veteran business owners are simply looking for the opportunity to compete on level ground within the highly competitive economic climate currently in place. Through supporting 2423, New York State will validate both the strong moral and economic reasons to support current and future service-disabled veteran-owned businesses, which in turn will promote further economic growth and entrepreneurship within our great state.
Senator Ball, that was
That was Jerry, Jerry Magic who spoke first. He literally woke up, if I may have my facts totally correct, but in a burn unit in San Antonio, 3rd-degree burns all over his body. There's a man who if I think I have a bad day, you think you have a bad boss and a bad day.
I've got a good boss.
That's a bad day. He has 3 children, and he got up and said, it's not about collecting a check from the government. I want to go and show my children and be an example and go make a living on the street. We've got to do everything we can to provide the opportunities to service-disabled vets, not to give them a special advantage, but to treat them the way they need to be treated. And at the end of the day, they have the skill sets that are going to bring businesses to the next level. We've got to get that bill passed.
Thank you for your commitment, Senator Ball. Wish we had more time. We'll wrap this up today and we'll get to it again at another show.
God bless.
Thanks a lot.
Nice time.